All right there, I just thought I'd make a video and show you guys, give you all a tour of the inside of my Kenworth. It's a 2012 Kenworth T-800 vacuum truck there. We use this in oil field maintenance, and we use this for cleanup jobs or, sucking cellars, pulling returns. I won't go into detail on all those different job applications. I may do a video on that eventually, but I thought I'd just show you, just do the rundown, the introduction inside of our trucks, and my rig that I currently drive. It's not specifically assigned to me. It's, I'm slip seating. I'll drive it for one shift, and then our truck driver, one of the other drivers, will drive it for the morning shift. So anyway, I'll get started on the dash here. Just like any vehicle, you got your speedometer, you got your tachometer, you got a digital odometer. And on this side here, you got your oil temperature, your amps, your battery volt gauge, water temperature gauge, just like on standard tractor trailers. Over here, got your primary, secondary air gauges. You got fuel. That's my brake application. So when I go and apply the service brake, that gauge, if it was on, if I had the truck running, you'd see the needle rise, and I'm doing about 25 pounds of pressure on it. Standard switches, headlights, parking lights, markers, ICC, cab lights. That's fog lights right there. This one's fog lamps. Sirius XM radio. That's my def gauge for diesel exhaust fluid, which, trucks 2008 and newer, that's when they started implementing them in Cummins and Detroit's and International. Their Max Force engines, they had the worst experience with that technology. Navistar hasn't been doing too good. But here you got your drive axle, you got your front, rear axle, temperature gauges. So I know what my axle temperature is for each one, differential. Got the air filter restriction gauge here. Got my boost gauge for my turbo. And then now, right here, working down to the switches. Right here, I can lock. That, I believe, is your power. You can lock in your power divider. Here, you can lock your front axle. And this one, you can lock in the rear axle, or you can lock all three simultaneously, or a combination of the two here either. Usually if I get stuck, I'll just lock in my my front driver and my rear. If you lock in all three, sometimes you can slide, so you don't necessarily need to do that. That's your parking brake right there. Climate control, AC, heat, the basics, window defroster. You got cruise control. Turn this on, and you can set it once you're over 35 miles an hour or more. You can set your cruise. Some of these trucks are governed. Back when I started here years ago, none of our trucks were governed. But now these vac trucks are governed to about 58 to 60 miles an hour. Got a spare switch here. Got two of them, one here and then one over here. That's for the LED, lights on the outside. That's for these lights, these work lights that we use when we're working at night. And then over here, below the gauges I showed you, here's the dome light. There's the fan clutch, engine fan clutch override switch. You got your dimmer right here for the dash. The spare, this will kill the engine. And then you got to get under the, open up the hood and go to the charge air cooler hose, and then there's a valve there. You got to turn it back on to start the truck again. So it's like a kill switch. This right here is for my vacuum. This is my PTO, power takeoff. So this is driven by the engine. PTO is driven by the engine, and that's what allows me to build pressure in my tank or vacuum, depending on what kind of job I'm doing. And then this is for the roper pump. We have a roper pump on these trucks here. And you got your clutch. service brake, accelerator, all the good stuff. And here I can adjust the steering wheel. So that's basically the inside of these trucks. We got CBs, most of our trucks do. And then I got an Eaton Straight 10 right here, coupled with a Cummins X12. But I'll make some more videos. This was kind of an introduction. Just, you know, showing the inside of my, you know, our fleet here and what we got, how they're spec'd, and the different type of equipment I usually drive. So I'm going to work on some next videos and go from there.